terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country.
Well, America, the idiot in charge has spent the tariff money. He has spent $3 trillion. Where was it supposed to be? It was supposed to be in the bank. It was supposed to pay off our debt or give us a check as a tax return. I don't know. But he admitted himself in writing that he has spent the money. If he's forced to pay this money back, it will plunge the United States into the greatest recession or depression we've ever seen.
All right, Shalom. I want to give our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters out there. On to his life foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. Trump, the United States of America, has a spending issue. Esau, the so-called white man, has a spending issue. So this video, which I'm gonna have to play, is 7 minutes. So I'm not gonna play all of it, but I'm gonna kind of do a commentary on it as I'm doing this. And every person is gonna explain exactly what happened. So all this tariff thing, yes, and has to deal with all of us. All these tariffs that he's been promising from the beginning and having these nations pay and so forth. Now the Supreme Court is stating they might come to the ruling that is illegal what he did, and all those cuts, the money that he was making, like she said, he spent it all. He spent it all. And so America is headlong first into utter darkness. You want to know what darkness is? You want to know what the dark ages really is? What they're about to do? Remember, America is in $38 trillion in debt. Debt to who? To the international bankers. So this wasn't by accident. No. This was by design. Because remember, this is how the devil works. This is why we call these people the devil. When it came to the point of paying for people snaps and so forth, what did they say? We got to get the emergency money. The emergency money, I believe they said was like $4 billion. Just for the month of November to give everybody back their quote unquote benefit. Then they said, you have to come up with the rest of the money. Where they was going to get the rest of the money, that's up to them. Then this asshole with the vice president sitting there stating that we need to have money liquidated in case of an emergency. Because what? They're broke. Then he spun the fucking block and told the world, this is the richest country in the world. I'm going to give everybody $2,000 per person. And now they're basically saying that the money, the shit that he did was illegal, and he's going to have to pay that shit back. But they don't got the money. And might add, they fucking gave Argentina $40 billion. So this is the most self-sabotaging, destruction of entire society. He is the ultimate Caesar. I go out there and spend every fucking money that is existence for his parties and his bullshit. So I'm gonna let these people say. I'm gonna bring out some scriptures. We'll go from there. This place is doomed.
You voted for him. Most of you voted for him 3 times. He spent the tariff money on what? God knows who. He spent the tariff money and now can't pay it back. I don't know. How could we have known that? 5 bankruptcies? 2 failed casinos?
And that's what you call a rap sheet. When a person goes to court and they got a record, right? And this is how this society works. They have a record. If you was a child, you was a juvenile, you got arrested, you stole a cup of candy, the courts will keep all that record. And then when you get it to become an adult and you come back to the judge, they look at your entire record, especially if you're one of the tribes, and they'll say, "Oh, you got a pattern, a history of violence, or a history of thievery," and then you don't get a ring. Then they're gonna say, "Oh, we could have tried you as an adult, give you X amount of years." But in this weird ass society, Esau has the pattern. Esau has the history of being the biggest rape, robber, murderer on the planet Earth. But what? He gets a slide. All right. Matter of fact, I know what scripture to get for real quick. So I'm gonna try to do like a little commentary. Psalms Psalm 73, and I'll start at 1. It says, a psalm of Asaph. Truly the Most High is good to Israel, because that's all the Lord cares about. Show you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The focal point is his people. Always been from the beginning to the end, where there ain't no end for us. Even to such are of a clean heart, mainly the elect. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither as they are plagued like other men. And it's evident. But like the elder bro in Malcolm, he said this particular verse is fading away. All right. Esau could go. Matter of fact, I'm be real. Edomites could go and make the biggest mistake. They could take somebody's life, but they will not be punished for the rest of their life, because the judge will sit there and say, "No, this is your first offense. We'll let you slide," and this, that, to the third. But a Negro, even if it's his first offense, he will get to the extent of the law, because there's no justice in this world. Matter of fact, since I'm saying that, Hagar 1 and 5, is it? I'm sorry. So, back, Habakkuk 1 and 5. It says 6. I'm sorry, 4. Therefore, it said, therefore the law is slack, and judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked doeth compass about the righteous. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. So this man has a rap sheet of bad business deals. His whole entire career, he was always bailed out. And then now so remember, he has small businesses. America itself is nothing but a business. It's a corporation. This is why you have a CEO, a president of a corporation. So the elites allow this president to bankrupt this place.
Who can fail at a casino?
Donald Trump appears to be confessing that the revenue collected by tariffs has already been spent as he's trying to get ahead of the Supreme Court decision. Now, if you didn't know, right now the Supreme Court is deciding whether or not Trump had the legal authority to impose tariffs on U.S. businesses. If they rule against Donald Trump, the U.S. government is going to have to pay back all that tariff revenue, and Donald Trump is in a panic as he took to True Social to say this. The U.S. Supreme Court was given the wrong numbers. In the event of a negative decision, the amount to be returned is in excess of $3 trillion. It would not be possible to ever make up for that kind of drubbing. This would become a national security event. But just the day before, yesterday, Donald Trump said it was $2 trillion. He added $1 trillion today because he is panicked. He is trying to signal, in my opinion, to the Supreme Court The money's not here anymore. Either that or he's trying to game them. Either way, I have an idea to refund the money. You could defund ICE, or maybe that ballroom, or both. Either way, Trump is in some trouble here.
This dude is panicking.
And you can clearly see he's panicking, right? They're right. He is panicking because the pressure is on. One thing, if you learn in history about Nero didn't. He hated to be hated. He loved to be loved. There's a video circulating of Nero 47. I'll call him that. He went to the Washington Commanders game. It was playing the Lions, Detroit Lions. He made a speech. The other hatred that the people had for him, they was booing him, saying "fuck you," da da da. And he's the current president. He's supposed to be the most loved president. What he said, the first Republican that got the the proper damn, why can't I say that? Wow, it's a tongue twister. But yeah, know what I mean. He at the prosperity, the popular vote. Oh wow, fine. The popular vote. And he takes these little bullshit achievements. It's like a kid that in kindergarten he does something right and he gets a sticker, right? And the sticker looks nice. You get that gold sticker. We all been there as a child. You get that gold sticker, like, oh, it looks, it's gold. So you give it to your parent, and your parent just put it in the refrigerator, like you achieved something. Really, you didn't achieve shit, right? So this is how this current world is. These presidents, which are selected by the higher ups, it doesn't matter if there's it doesn't matter if the people go out there and quote unquote voted for them. They're selected, so that takes away. But he's so delusional to believe that I have the heart of the people, that when he started to see that the people are starting to turn on him, he start panicking. All right, you have to see the trend. When the whole thing with those small hatters and they was attacking Iran, he was panicking. All right, he was sweating bullets. He even got to the point where he wasn't friendly as he was with the people that control him. All right, so he's panicking right now, and now all of a sudden there's a Epstein email that the Democrats is doing. So don't be surprised if something happens. Another major distraction to keep that away, because he needs to be loved. He's egotistical. All right. I just wanted to say that.
He's panicking because he doesn't have the money. He's panicking because he spent the money. The SNAP contingency fund, whatever tariff money that came in, it was not trillions, but it is estimated to be about 80 billion. It's gone. It's spent. Not just that, but this goes all the way back to USAID and the Doge stuff. They have taken money from all kinds of places in the government.
And the Doge stuff, what did he say? They find so much money. This is how much of a hypocrite these people are. Like the scripture says, they're gathering treasures as in the last days. And this is how they get down. So they went into the government was overspending regardless. So they got in there, say, oh, you guys overspending here and there, right? They cut that. What did he say? They made so much money that this is what he said, the broken promise, that they consider to give everybody $5,000 each, not a peep. But some odd reason, government shuts down. Your federal workers, people that's supposed to have guaranteed jobs, can't work. You're not paying them. All right? You're not paying them. Then the poor people who didn't do nothing, you decide to starve them to death. So we see what's going on right before this whole thing is being dismantled right before our face. This is their last. Um, this is their last money run or money grab. This is their last real estate grab. They doing everything that they can to ruin even their own position. All right. Where did the money go? Nobody's gonna know. Is it gonna be out in the open? Is the Supreme Court is gonna really say anything? No. All right. Because they don't give a fuck. They have to destroy the current present world. They have to. Okay. They play the
And he's panicking now because the Supreme Court, in their oral arguments the other day, sounded like even the conservatives that they're going to rule against him on the tariffs being unconstitutional, which means he has to give the money back. And he's panicking because he doesn't have the money to give it back. He's riddled with dementia, so he's out here just admitting it. This is just an admission. This is the biggest theft of the American government in our history. We don't even know the tip of the iceberg. This is absolutely insane. We need a full audit of every dollar that has been spent in our government since January. I mean, really, we need a better audit of our government for like years.
And I just heard who's gonna audit it? Who's gonna do it? Whoever does it, they're gonna be corrupt too. But that's not the point. And it's something you just said since January. The year's not even over since January. All right, so much fucking corruption within a year. So when all these other presidents was in office, how much other corruption has there been? And then he's expediting things because they know they have but a short time. They know they have nothing but a short time. Time is running out. This is the last money grab, yo. This is it for these people, and they know it.
Years, but since January, since he came into office, because I don't think that there is any money in these funds. He stole it. He's at major news right now. Donald Trump is melting down because he's realizing the Supreme Court is about to rule against him on the most consequential economic policy of his administration, tariffs. And he's realizing that he probably spent all of the money generated by the tariffs already, and he doesn't know how he's going to pay it back. Because if the Supreme Court says, Donald Trump, your tariffs are illegal, he's going to have to pay back billions and billions of dollars generated from the tariffs. And he's admitting now that the United States of America has already spent some of that money, and it's going to be a complete and utter mess. Economic numbers are bad. Tariffs are bad. And the Trump administration, well, they're gearing up for a massive loss in front of the United States Supreme Court that could come as soon as this week. And Donald Trump, he's lashing out at everyone. He's lashing out publicly, and now he's even lashing out at his own attorneys who appeared in front of the Supreme Court. Read this with me. The United States Supreme Court was given the wrong numbers. The unwind in the event of a negative decision on tariffs would be including investment made to be made and return of funds in excess of $3 trillion. It would not be possible to ever make up for that kind of drubbing. That would truly become an insurmountable national security event and devastating to the future of our country, possibly non-sustainable. Read this with me. Who gave the Supreme Court wrong numbers? His own Solicitor General, John Sauer, gave the Supreme Court wrong numbers, according to him. Trump is not happy. And now Trump is saying that excess of $3 trillion that we'd have to pay back, even though the tariffs have only generated about $200 billion worth of revenue for the United States. So not sure where he's getting that $3 trillion number from. But what he's saying here is that essentially the United States of America has spent some of the money, has invested some of the money, and they won't be able to pay back the tariffs. Now, folks, this is stunning. This is absolutely stunning. Donald Trump and the Trump administration always knew that it was a possibility that he would be forced to pay back this money generated from the tariffs. That was,
and I got to get a scripture on this because it shows it's going to happen. It's what to read is going to happen. No ifs, ands, buts about it. That is Zephaniah 1. I saw that 9. Is it 9? No, it's 10. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. How, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, For all the merchant people are cut down, all that bears silver are cut off. So we're seeing the complete downfall of the United States of America, the finishing touch. This is why he is the last president. He's put in this place in a financial bind it can never get out of, which was already in a worse bind. What was his promises? We're gonna use the money from the Joyce finding. We're gonna pay back our debts. He just added more to the debt. All right. Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these things take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, woe to him that increases that which is not his. I'm sorry. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? To him that ladeth himself with thick clay. When you go into that word clay, is it abatyat, which means wage of pledge of heavy debt. All right, of heavy debt. He spent it all. Now, let me see, go to this one real quick. You see in the utter destruction of American finances, they're gonna start reprogram everything, start over, start afresh, because they can't keep up with what they did. Now, James 5:1 NIV. Now listen, you rich people, weep and weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth has rotted, your moths have eaten your clothes, your gold and silver are corroded. The corrosion will testify against you, eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. And this is exactly what's happening. I remember, we all should remember, during the pandemic, they gave, under him too, it was $600 per person, right? Extra. Because everybody was locked in and so forth. The very fuck. All right, just lucky about that. So instead of this man, instead of when they gave that $600, they made you pay it back. And how they make you pay back? Obviously you paying back to the money, the things that you have to spend on, back to the system. But the next cycle for the next president of this guy Biden, anything that's being transferred over $600, you have to report it to the IRS. So this devil can give you nothing. Everything that he gives, it comes with a cost, comes with a price. All right. So they hoarding wealth right now. They're saying that this guy, his son, one of his sons, are into the crypto. He even made his own crypto coin. All right. So this is every president, they come in supposedly broke, but they leave rich. Dick Cheney, he made billions of dollars during the time of 9/11. His private company was damn, I forgot that name. Let me look it up. I can look up real quick. I remember, not Warren Buffett, Dick Cheney's company. I believe it's Halliburton. Halliburton, right? Yep, Halliburton. Halliburton was a private-owned company. I remember around that time frame, taking ex-military. Their job was to do what? It was to go in after the destruction of the countries and rebuild it. And they'll, if you was in the military, military personnel don't get paid shit. But if you join like Halliburton, I believe they said like over $100,000 a year because you're a private contractor. You work for this thing. So Dick Cheney, during the time of the 9/11 situation, he was banking. He was making so every president from every president, Clintons, the George Bushes, the Obamas, they make billions of dollars in their stead. This is why it's a highly coveted office that they have. All right. So this is the time of hoarding for them. It says verse 4, look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mourned your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty, which is talking about Yahweh Shai, right? It says, this is the point I wanted to get. You have lived in earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. So this is the time of indulgence, which when you look up the word for wantonness, it's the sexual depravity. Basically, let me actually look it up. She says wanton, right?
Strong's G 4684, spatalao. Spatalao.
Well, it actually doesn't say it here, but it says live luxuriously, like the voluptuous life, give oneself to pleasure. All right, wanton, right? Let me just see if I can find it in the regular. Wanton be described as the behaviors of cruel or malicious, unprovoked, unjustly wanton, or sexual, unrestrained, and lewd, e.g., wanton behavior. It can also describe action that the reckless neglect or no, let me get this word. Negligent. The description of a failure to take proper care in doing something, often leading to harm, and it can be legal term for a person carelessness or lack of attention that falls below the standard of care a responsible person would provide. And this is supposed to be the chief. This is supposed to be the president. This is supposed to be um, the leader of the free world. And look what he has done. Now everybody's complaining about this. Why? Because this is a race of people that's in wanton. They do things specifically, but yet let a Negro, Latino, Native Americans do something to the scent, and they get punished to the extent of the law. All right. These are the most undisciplined people on the planet Earth. Then this is why the scriptures talk about of a servant. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that. Let's see, I put servant prince. Let's see how that pops up. Huh? Prince. Oh man, what the hell? Hold on. All right, Proverbs. No. Proverbs 19 and 10. Let me see. Hold on, real quick. Yeah, Proverbs 19 and 10. The light is not seemly for a fool, much less a servant to rule over princes, right? The light. Let's look up. Oh, the NIV is not fitting for a fool to live luxuriously. How much worse for a slave to rule over princes? And it's proven. Everybody's seeing this because in this society, they can make a mistake and get, like the scriptures talk about, a rich man that has many friends. They get out of that situation. And who's going to be harmed by it? They're not going to be harmed by it. They get slapped in the wrist. But the rest of the people is going to have to. This is why they had a thing called a bail-in. We had the bailout. Now we have the bail-in. So if anything happens and the banks go under, whatever you have in your account, the banks is taking you. There's no insurance for it because these people rule this world. These corrupt, evil son of a bitches.
Money generated from the tariffs. That was always part of the agenda. It was always a part of a possible plan. If the Supreme Court said, you know what, Trump, your tariffs are unconstitutional. And well, despite all of that, he is running our country right now as though he's running a casino in Atlantic City, just spending. And then one day our country could face bankruptcy and he won't have any money to pay lenders. Same thing here. He's spending all this money generated by tariffs. And as soon as this week, the Supreme Court could come back and say, you know what? You can't actually spend that money because you can't even have that money in the first place. And Donald Trump should have seen this coming because if you watched the Supreme Court oral arguments, you would have seen massive resistance from even Trump's own appointed justices. But that's not all. Trump was rebuked by his own party in front of the United States Senate. 5 senators joined all Democrats. 5 Senate Republicans joined all Democrats to rebuke Trump on tariffs on Brazil. 4 Republicans joined all Democrats to rebuke tariffs on Canada. And another 4 joined all Democrats to rebuke.
It's over for you. So with that being said, shalom.